Hello. Hi. I'm back. I'm back. Can you guys see me and hear me okay? Hello, hello, hello. We're just here for a little hangout before we do true crime today. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Hello. What's going on? Let's chat. Um, I didn't go live yesterday. I spent time with my family and I guess the holidays, it's just busy everywhere. But nonetheless, I hope you guys had a good weekend. Hello, welcome back. We're a lot. We're gonna be a lot. We're gonna be on live a lot today. We're doing this live. We have a Stephen Stearns, we have an Idaho 4. We're going over the second channel, and I will be on TikTok later as well. So there's a lot going on. But definitely make sure you subscribe to the second channel. Thank you for being here. There's a lot of new updates. Brian Walshe was found guilty. No shit. I mean, are we surprised? Who thought he was innocent? Is there anyone that thought he was innocent of murdering his wife? I'm not surprised by that. I did kind of give up on you guys with the Brian Walshe trial. It was giving me anxiety. I know it's really weird, but maybe if I kind of want to I do want to, I think, watch the rest of the days that I missed because I think I stopped on day 5, maybe 4. So sorry for that. I couldn't get through it. It was giving me anxiety. I think I'm like too hyper. I need to be doing something. And those are long days. So our trials for me, yeah, maybe, but depends on which trial, I guess. No, he's so guilty. I know. I do want to talk about there's an update in Turtle Boy stuff. There's drama there. Brian Walsh is guilty. We're gonna watch a few interviews with Michael Morrissey, I believe his name is, from the Karen Reed case. And we're gonna talk about Rob Reiner, I think is how you say it. I'm not like super familiar with him, but I'm sure everybody's already heard. Him and his wife were found dead in their LA home yesterday, I believe. And you guys might be able to school me on this one because I know I'm not like super familiar with his projects. I know like Princess Bride, right? And I think Stand By Me. I think Cree and I were talking about that last night. But I'm not like super familiar, but I know he's well known and I know he's talented. So him and his wife were found dead in their home, LA home, in near Brentwood or in Brentwood. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're gonna read a couple of the articles. And I believe, isn't Brentwood where the Nicole Simpson case happened? Isn't that where she lived? So it's a big deal. It's Hollywood, in the entertainment industry. But we're gonna watch a couple interviews, or not interviews, but segments like TMZ and a few of those. We'll read a couple articles, then we'll watch the Brian Walsh verdict, and then we will go over to the next live, which is the Stephen Stearns case. We're gonna go over through. It's pretty much chill today. I was like, not. I just got a lot of FOIA documents, so I'm really overwhelmed. And I am trying to get another one. So if you guys would love to support and can support, that would be amazing. I'm putting everything together. It's a lot, and we have another 𝗫𝗫𝗓 live as well. More calls. The next 𝗫𝗫𝗓 live will be, I think I'm gonna try to make it at least 10 calls. I don't know. We'll see, but it's I've been working on it all weekend. So shout out to you guys for supporting and hanging out. Let me pull up. Let me see what you guys are saying. Hi, Debbie. And this is just chill. So no one gets your panties in a bunch. We're just hanging out. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm already thinking of a michelada. I was really busy yesterday with my family. So we're back to getting into it. And we're definitely going to go live on the second channel tonight, like I said. So definitely make sure you're subbed up over there as well. So I saw Debbie Abuelitas. Hi, Debbie. Or Chris said, yeah, he's so guilty. I know. And hey, Robert, good to see you. It's been a while. And Laura, I think Laura has a lot to say about who has their panties in. Okay, I have to tell you guys a story. So and I mean no shade, but like sometimes on those 𝗫𝗫𝗓 lives, like, oh, yo, if you go back through the comments on like the 𝗫𝗫𝗓 calls and text messages, specifically the text messages, oh my gosh, people are going in. They're like, I don't think people understand the dynamic of the babelets. And like, if you were here from the beginning of the text messages with 𝗫𝗫𝗓 to the to the end, it's like we built a relationship, we have inside jokes, and we all have our opinions. This is an opinion-based channel. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a true crime junkie. And I do like to get involved with lawyers and FOIAs and all of that, but nonetheless, like chill out. You know, we have inside jokes. We have theories on the Mackenzie and Dom situation. And do we actually really know? I mean, we know what we know from the court, right? We've all gone through it. So I think it's hard sometimes from the outside to jump into the Kenzie text and like understand the dynamic because people go in on me in the comments. They're like, "What do you mean?" Like, and I'm just like, dude, it's just an experience. We're talking from experience. That's pretty much what the direction that my channel is going in anyway. So it's like, if you can't hang, then I don't know what you want me to do, babe. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. And if you don't understand my sarcasm at this point, there might be a problem. But at the end of the day, you know, it's all love. But anyways, that's a little rant about the Kenzie calls. Let's pull up the Rob Reiner. So I wanted to see, and Laura, I'm sure has a lot to say about did you watch the Michael Morrissey, Meatball Morrissey? He's from the Karen Reed case. Oh shit, there's a lot going on too with Turtle Boy. I want to cover some of it. It's controversial, and I don't want to have people pissed off at me. But we'll see. We want you to sing. You guys want to do a Melly after dark, but during the day? Yeah, pretty much. Wolf of Wall Street. Who? Brian Walshe? Brian Walsh's case was one of the shortest trials. You know what trials I will not miss though? Like Pig Vomit, Stephen Stearns, Courtney Clenny. I will absolutely not miss one single minute of that. There's a few other cases that I'm going to be talking about that have, well, not really a trial, but I guess on their way to trial that are not well known. What's another trial? I can't think off the top of my head right now that I really want to watch. It'll come to me. I have a list of them, but I don't have it in front of me. It's in my planner. They say the Sun did it. Yeah, we're gonna watch a clip about that. It is the Sun. Oh yeah, the meathead, Michael Morrissey. You know, it's really sad about the Rob Reiner thing. Like it's allegedly his son, you know, stabbed them to death. Allegedly, their throats were slit. Sorry, TMI, like trigger warning. But that's I guess what happened. So let's watch a couple clips. Those might be wicked long for you, Millie. It's okay. I need to get them into them. All day drink. I'm in, says Mary. Hey, devil dog. Patty and the Natty in the house. What up, Patty? I had a lot of fun the other night too. We did a 6-hour live, so that was a lot of fun. I'm ready for the indictment. Oh yeah, David is one of them. Honestly, if I can make it to the David trial, if there is one, I don't know what's going on. You know, I haven't done an update on the Celeste case because I'm a little frustrated with it. I'm not even like anything to do with her, of course, RIP to her, but just like everything going on, all the information, TMZ this, TMZ that, LAPD, like LAPD shit. As far as like being the most transparent, nonetheless, but so I do need to do an update on the David case, but you know, it's like really what's taking so long? And there's all this kind of drama. So we probably will do an update on that at some point this week. But like I said, I have 3 cases that I just got FOIAs on and I'm paying for one. So I'm thinking of doing like people who donate towards FOIAs maybe will be entered in the giveaway on the second channel. I'm going to try to figure that out by tonight. But yeah, I've been submitting for a lot of them and I'm trying to get more Kenzie stuff. They quoted me on for some stuff that I want and it's like I told you guys it was like $2,000, but I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I kind of want it. So I'm gonna look into that. But nonetheless, let's get started on Rob Reiner. I don't know what projects he was in completely. You guys might know more than me, like I said. Um, Stand by Me, 1986, The Princess Bride, 1987. Wait, he produced When Harry Met Sally? No way. I love that movie. He did? I'm trying to read on here. I'll pull it up. Mm. Having grown up the son of a comedian, Carl Reiner, actor and director Rob emerged. Okay. Portrayal of Michael Meehan on 𝗕𝗥𝗔𝗂 on the sitcom classic All in the Family. That was 1971 through 79. I wasn't even born yet. They struggled for a short time to launch his own projects. The Spinal Tap. I have heard of that. Stand By Me, 1986. Princess Bride. I know Princess Bride. I love Princess Bride. That was 87. Oh yeah, When Harry Met Sally. Okay, so 1989. I'm sure there's a lot more that's not. Oh, Misery, 1990. A Few Good Men, 1992. He fell into a directing slump with North in 1994. I know he was good friends with a lot of Hollywood wigs, though. The American President. Okay. Let's pull up some videos. LML. She's just reading, guys. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm back now. Why are you guys talking shit in the chat? Just kidding. I woke up with my AirPods, like I said. Oh, after the After Dark. I miss all the fun because I'm old. Oh, Mary, it's fine. We're going to be on the second channel if you guys subscribe. We're going to be doing like the hangout lives during the day over there. And I need to get my hours up over there too. So everybody go subscribe. The videos I post, they're going to be all hangout. The link wasn't working. I don't know what the hell is going on with it, but I'm talking to YouTube about it because I'm like, what the heck? But nonetheless, people are subscribing, so I don't know what the problem is with the link. But I know like Korean Abuelita and Laura were saying that it doesn't work. Let's try one more time. The ME and LAPD have beef. Dude, LAPD is such a pain in the ass to even get documents too because I submitted for the Rob ones. And it's like, dude. I keep odd hours. Sometimes I'm up at 5 a.m. That's how I am. I'm just like, you're next. What are you talking about? I'm talking shit. Oh, hey, Tippy. I just saw you get in here. Yeah, like you just posted it and it's not blue, so no one can click on it and go there. Oh. Hey, Lupe. What up? Tiffany says he had a worth of 200 million. He was successful. Well, there's like a lot of stuff going on with his son. I know his son was into rugs and stuff. Let me go back in the chat. And, with these kinds of family cases, like, and even us speaking from our own, let me see who this is. From our own experiences. Oh, yeah, that's a fake account. That's a troll. I just made an account in here to come troll me. It was created today. When are you doing the Lorena Bobbitt case? I'm actually putting information about that case together. We broke it trying to sub up. Oh, the channel. Ew, Lorena, I know. I've been reading Reddit. I love Reddit, dude. People go on there and talk a lot of shit, and then there's a lot of good stuff on there too. You have to type it out. Oh, is that like new? Because that's so weird. That's an old case. I know, but people have a lot to say on it. Didn't she chop his? Yeah. When are you doing? Yeah, we broke it trying to sub. Okay, does it work now? Let me know about the link. May I ask if you think there's any validity to a new lead in the 𝗕𝗏𝗡 case? I've never covered that case. I've never really gotten into it, but I don't know what I think about that case, really, truly. He used to do fundraisers on Howard Stern. It was hysterical. Oh, Rob Reiner? I remember watching All the Family. He was so funny. I've never seen it, All the Family, but I've heard a lot about it and I've seen clips. I wish that they would tell us exactly what the new evidence is for the 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 case. Emily, have you ever watched Mindhunters? Yes, I love Mindhunters. It's a good show. Reiner. Oh, it's Reiner. 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 keeps correcting me. Really? I think I heard both, but whatever. Melanie only seen some of the family. Yes. For yes. I will still think the parents had something to do with it. They were fishy and wacky. See, sometimes I think if I give my opinion, yeah, people will come for me in the comments. Let me see. I'll have to pull up the link in a sec. Let me pull up what we're gonna watch. Let's see. Hold on, let me play this.
Reiner, I want to get back to Stephanie Elam. What are you learning, Stephanie?
Pamela, we have a big development here now. We can tell you that Nick Reiner, the 32-year-old son of Rob.
I don't know why this StreamYard is doing this, dude. This is so horrible. Oh, about the son. Yeah. It was Ruggs, I guess, allegedly. Melly, you can't make everybody happy. Thank you, Laura. The more comments, the more your streams get out there. Yeah, no, I know. I know, you're right. I don't know anything about this, the son in the case. Yeah, well, we're gonna read through some of it. Apparently new testing for the existing DNA that was never oh, I'll have to look into that, Mary. You happy? You little baby? Who? Oh, because 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 kept correcting me. Reiner. Chill out, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Chill out. Like what you have to say though. Oh yeah. My sister would probably agree. Okay, yeah, I know. Marla's 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 just corrected me too. Reiner, not Rainier. Reiner. Yeah, chill out, said Cree. Okay, let me play this. Let me play this.
And Michele Reiner has been booked into a Los Angeles jail that happened on Monday, happened today after his parents were found dead. Now, what is worth noting here is that it doesn't exactly say what he's charged with, but we do know that his bail has been set at $4 million, according to these jail records that we are seeing here, but still not clear on what has happened here. And family members are continuing to be interviewed as this investigation continues, but obviously this is a very large development here that there has been an arrest, booking into jail for this case, for the deaths of Rob and Michele Reiner, and now learning that the person who has been booked into jail is their 32-year-old son.
Yeah, it's amazing development indeed. I want to bring in our chief media analyst, Brian Stelter, who's joining us.
His bond is $4 million. So what is that? $400,000 he'd have to pay. And they're a wealthy family. Well, his parents are. I don't know about him. That's not very much. Well, I guess for like a Hollywood person, maybe.
That's right now.
Yeah, he went to rehab like 12 times. And I'm like, oh shit. 12 times is a little much, right? Because you were the one who broke it. Probably chump change. You think, Patty? I mean, Rob was really wealthy, but I don't know about like the will stuff and how that works if you're involved in their murder, you know?
Huge development. I must say, Rob Reiner was such a major presence in Hollywood all of these years. But give us your reaction to what the breaking news is.
That's right. And Rob and Michele Reiner had 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. They were most recently photographed together, all as a family, on the red carpet for the family's newest movie. Rob and Michele had both worked on, Rob had directed a sequel to This Is Spinal Tap. So they were out there being photographed in September, all together as a family. But it's going to obviously come up right away that Nick Reiner struggled for many years with drug abuse. He was homeless for a time. And that's something that Rob Reiner spoke about and was public about and was transparent about. In fact, the 2 men worked on a film together about 10 years ago. The film was titled Being Charlie, and it was loosely based on his son Nick's experiences earlier in life. Nick Reiner did not end up getting other screenwriting credits later, but they did come together for that collaboration about a decade ago. And Rob Reiner spoke very eloquently about learning about his son, about learning about Nick's struggles through that filmmaking process. Quoting from the Los Angeles Times back then, Reiner and his wife struggled as their son Nick was addicted to hard drugs, rotating in and out of rehab facilities like they were shopping malls. The couple wondered if there was an end in sight. So that's a decade ago. That is in the past, but it is relevant context about Nick Reiner, 32 years old, as people are going to be wondering now why he has been taken into custody and why he's been booked on this felony charge. And now, Wolf, we're going to wait for answers from authorities there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, we are waiting for answers. And Stephanie, on that point, what happens next for Nick Reiner? Do we know? And also, can you tell us anything more about him? We learned from Brian, but I know you can expand.
Yeah, I think what's also worth noting, right? We learned about this happening, that it happened in the late afternoon local time here in California yesterday. Looking at the jail booking document, you can see that Nick Reiner was arrested yesterday. That's a new development that we've seen in there, and he was booked into jail today. We did hear from the Los Angeles Police Department that they had to get a search warrant to further their investigation before they could even go farther with saying who they thought may be the suspect in the case and what may have been a motive. We were standing out here very early this morning when they took away the police tape, opened up the street, and now shortly thereafter, we're getting this booking information from the jail. So just giving a bit of context.
All right.
I think we're losing our connection.
Okay, I thought that was me.
We'll get back to her for sure. Brian Stelter, you're still with us. Talk a little bit more about Rob Reiner's impact on Hollywood. As all of us who grew up watching Rob Reiner, we know he was huge.
Can you guys just imagine what Rob and his wife are probably thinking? That's crazy. Allegedly, their throats were slashed. Drug psychosis. I went to see that movie Being. I wonder if we played it. Hey Conrad, good to see you. I wonder if we played it, if I probably would be copyrighted. I think he was put in rehab like 7. Oh, not 12. She found them. The sister did, right? Yeah, let's finish watching this clip.
And in so many different ways. That's one of the reasons why Rob Reiner was a special figure. It's why some people today are likening him to a mayor, an unofficial mayor of Hollywood. It's because he was not just a writer and actor. He was not just a director and a producer. He was not just a role model to younger filmmakers. He was all of the above. That's why we saw other legends like Larry David hurrying to his home in Brentwood yesterday, wanting to try to be there, wanting to try to be close to the scene. Reiner was larger than life in that way, partly because he worked for so many different decades. Getting his start at a playhouse in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and then on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour on CBS in the late 60s. Those writing credits then turned into acting credits, most famously with All in the Family. And you think about even the name of that sitcom. You think about him playing Archie Bunker's son-in-law. Family and that connection of family was really important through his decades. I mentioned that he had 3 children with Michele, and that was a love story in and of itself that spanned almost 40 years and helped inspire the ending of When Harry Met Sally, something we've been talking about here on the air this morning. So that's just going to intensify the curiosity and the concern about why one of his sons, Nick, has been booked on this felony charge, this unknown felony charge. Unfortunately, we're in a little bit of an information vacuum right now, but we do know a family member was interviewed by police last night, and now we know one of the sons is in custody.
Yeah, and tell us more about the reaction to Reiner's death and his wife's death. And I, just to mention, you personally spoke with Rob Reiner in the past. I mean, you had a connection to him that a lot of people didn't.
Well, I was thinking about what it was like to sit down with him, because, sometimes you never know what you're going to expect when you're talking to one of these A-listers who's been around forever, who's been out there in the movie making industry, who could doing anything, talking to anybody. Sometimes they might be dismissive, but in the case of Rob Reiner, he made everybody feel at ease immediately. He was cracking jokes with the folks there on the set that day, having everybody in stitches. You could tell that he was a natural-born entertainer, and that came, of course, in part from his father, Carl, who was a comedy icon as well. Reiner was married once in the 70s to the late Penny Marshall. Then he met Michele while working on When Harry Met Sally, and that's why the end of the film changed the way it did, because Rob Reiner was newly in love. And then they had a really great working relationship for decades. I mentioned that film Being Charlie, that was loosely based on his son Nick's struggles with homelessness and addiction. But there were films that Michele and Rob worked on together, including most recently that sequel to Spinal Tap that just came out in September. I was inspired by an interview Reiner did with NPR earlier this year, saying that he wanted to keep telling stories, that even in this AI world, that this corporate Hollywood world, that people are always going to want to connect to great storytelling. And that's what Reiner was able to do, whether through his own production company, through supporting actor roles on sitcoms and movies, or working with his wife on any number of film productions.
And we also know a little bit more now about Nick Reiner, the son of the Reiners, and some of his past struggles, as you correctly point out.
Yeah, Laura says, can you imagine the scene, the son coming after them not calling the police, perhaps trying to reason with them, completely terrified, awful. And if one saw the other one die first, treatment centers can be a joke and money grab. Absolutely. So unfortunate when addiction runs so deep. Patty says adopted he was? I didn't hear that. Yes, this world moves so important. I have not read that. Interesting.
With addiction, which in
I'll have to look
part
into that.
inspired the movie Being Charlie, which Nick and his father worked on together, right, Brian?
Yeah, I was struck by this sentence in the LA Times story as we all piece this together and understand more of the background. It said Nick Reiner did, quote, survive his descent into heroin and homelessness, getting clean.
Heroin.
And he and his most famous father decided to deal with their family's troubled past in a most unlikely way, by making a movie about it. Rob Reiner talked in interviews, again, this was in 2015, a decade ago, about how he was able to better understand what his son went through. And his son was in his early 20s at the time. Nick Reiner now 32. I mentioned they were photographed together on a red carpet. They were also photographed last year together at an event, at a restaurant opening. So there was a sense of togetherness. We know this family was fully together at some points. There are other photos, though, where you don't see Nick Reiner in the picture, where you see the other son and the daughter with their father. So there's a lot we still don't know yet about the history here, about Nick Reiner in recent years. A lot of people with questions right now, most specifically about why he has been brought into custody.
It's interesting. Rob Reiner was not only a Hollywood director, but he was also heavily involved in politics. He donated to many Democratic political groups and candidates. And
yeah, Patty, you're right about the sister. I had forgot that. The daughter was adopted. Yeah, she was.
I had a chance, and I remember this vividly, of interviewing him back in 2004, just ahead of the third debate between President George W. Bush and John Kerry. Here's some of what he told me at that time. Listen to this.
The fact that we've 3.8 million people have lost their health insurance, almost 1 million people have lost their jobs, and over 6,000 people are dead or wounded in Iraq. These are grave mistakes, and we have a president who's unwilling to admit to any mistakes.
He also advocated for a number of causes, including marriage equality, early childhood education, and fighting big tobacco. Brian, tell us a little bit more about the politics of Rob Reiner.
Yeah, and unfortunately, President Trump is out this morning with a pretty crude, pretty crass post about Reiner, suggesting that maybe somehow he died because of his hatred for all things Trump. Hopefully, that's not going to get too much attention today, as it really muddies and pollutes the discourse. We're talking, unfortunately, about a Hollywood murder mystery, right?
You guys know I don't like politics.
Police on the scene investigating what is an apparent
We're
homicide.
gonna listen to it.
Unless it, somehow there was some accident at the home and there's no indication this was an accident. We're talking about a situation where someone seemed to want Rob and Michele Reiner dead. And there's a lot of questions I'm sure the authorities are trying to answer and will then answer in the public in due course. One of the most gripping parts of the reporting overnight was about the fact that a relative went over to the home and was there and it was the person who originally was able to see these bodies. Your heart goes out to whatever relative that was, whatever family member that was, who stumbled onto this crime scene. And I think as more reporting comes out, we'll find out who that was and what that moment was like. But it may speak to the close-knit nature of this family coming over on a Sunday afternoon, whether that was on an ordinary Sunday or because they were concerned, in this case, about the mother and father of the family. And again, a lot we don't know on that front.
Oh, yeah, let me pull up. I know he did. I saw the whole Trump thing. I don't like to talk politics, but let me see if I can pull it up. I wanted to read it. I mean, I'm sure I could just Google it, but I guess that's what I'll do. I want to see the actual tweet of it, though. I saw it on X. Oh, I just saw something else too I want to talk about later. Okay, I'll have to find it in a second. Why can't I log into X on my computer? Okay, so it says a very sad thing happened last. Was this actually really what the president put out? Trump? I thought it was fake at first. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michele, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with the mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michele rest in peace. What the? See, this is why I don't. A man, Hollywood titan and liberal, and his wife were brutally murdered, presumably by their mentally ill son, and this is the official statement of the president. The statement is insane, if real, says 𝗕𝗏𝗏 Law. Mr. 𝗕𝗏𝗏. He just posted that on Twitter. Oh, I love Mr. 𝗕𝗏𝗏. I should ask him to come on my show, but he probably won't because, I have nothing to do with the drama. And he's really all up in that crowd. Yeah, that's sad. Someone said it was fake, but does anyone see the irony in this? I'm reading you guys' comments. It's a fail, and I'm a Team Trump. This statement was abhorrent. Read something like, "Ooh, that's a diss to Aiden." Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's pull up this Reddit thing that I want to read. That's funny, huh? I cannot stand StreamYard anymore. Let me see. Very, very liberal. I don't follow personal lives of stars, says Mary. I follow some. Alsane's laughing at me. Well, you're going to listen to it. Oh, yeah. Patty said she doesn't want to be put on timeout or in detention. Trump made a horrible tweet about him. Alsane said that was funny. I don't want to talk about politics. I know, CNN. We're going to be playing a lot of those channels because they did clips on this. Yeah, it's awful and totally disrespectful. Yeah, dude. I'm not down with it. Yeah, doesn't surprise me, Patty says. TBS is turtled. Oh, that's hilarious. He actually doesn't like the drama and won't. Oh, really? Really? Because he hangs out at NK's and all of those channels that are involved with all the turtle drama. I saw his tweet about about refusing to speak to it today, but he said like he's no longer going to comment on it. Exactly. I've been on timeout. Bad stuff, says Patty. Okay, let's read this. It says Rob Reiner's son Nick arrested in connection with his parents' death. That's what he looks like. Really? In an interview? Oh, maybe the interview's old. In the interview we're going to watch, he doesn't look like that. Nick, the son of the director Rob, has been arrested in connection with the death of his parents. Stab wounds. They don't know if he has legal representation, I'm sure. 32 with history of drug addiction, which began in his teens. He told people in 2016 that he spent periods of weeks sleeping rough on the streets and was in and out of rehab for addiction treatment that started when he was 15. Oh, I wonder what got him into it. It was very hard going through it the first time with painful and difficult highs and lows, Rob said, and then making the movie dredged it all up again. Shawshank is one of them as well. I haven't seen a lot of those movies. Probably because they're older. People are just saying how amazing he was. Sadly, I mean, I wasn't like super into it. But I mean, I don't know shit about directing a movie and a show. Bail is not intended to be punishment. It's meant to allow you some freedom until the guilt is determined. I don't even think he should have gotten bail. Right? Well, I guess if they don't really have a case put together yet, but allegedly the sister, they were found with their throats slit. Yeah, it says that right here. Here's an article that says they got into a fight at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party Saturday night. So maybe that was like some of the motive. Let me share that. Wow, that's really, really crappy. Okay, this is a TMZ article. We're also gonna watch one of their clips. There's so many freaking ads on here. So it's all over Brian. Yeah, we're gonna watch some clips for Brian. Lisa Marie, you'll get it, Lisa. You'll get it. Just keep coming back. Let's pull this up. Why does it keep doing that? I seriously can't. With StreamYard. There we go. Robin's son, Nick, in heated argument at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. Rob and his wife, Michele, and their son, Nick, attended Conan O'Brien's Christmas party Saturday night. At that party, Rob and Nick got into a very loud argument, loud enough for many others to hear. We're told Rob and Michele left the party It's unknown if he left at that time as well. TMZ is the first to report the argument between Rob and Nick. Dude, TMZ annoys the out of me, but like, what? They have all these connects too. I don't know. I'm a little sus. Our family sources add Michele had been anguishing to friends over the last few months that she and Rob were at wit's end over Nick's mental illness and alleged substance abuse issues and did not know what to do with their son, Nick. We've tried everything, she said, the wife. Wow. As you know, the legendary actor, director, and his wife were found dead in their house, throat slit. Dude. That's brutal. Nick was arrested Sunday morning and booked for murder. He's being held on $4 million bail. That's terrible. Let's watch more clips. This is, oh, shoot. Okay, this is a Law and Crime already did like a segment on it too. They're hilarious. Let me pull that up. It happened at 3:38 p.m. in the afternoon. So it was freaking daytime. Wait. That's when they were found. So, I mean, I guess it could have happened earlier. I don't think he got sentenced yet. Brian Walshe is going to try to play off the mental health card because he's a psychopath. So they're going to try to fight something, if not everything. Misleading Ellie and disposing of a body illegally. Oh yeah, Brian Walshe. It was like, was it? Yeah, it was. The call, I think, went in to LAPD at 3:38 p.m. So I don't know if they had been dead for a while, but if they were at Brian's house. Oh shit, could have had happened after the party in the early morning hours. Like they left the party, he stayed, went and did drugs, maybe did something, and then shows up to their house and does that. That's scary. Okay, let's watch this Law and Crime thing that they did. So their daughter went to their house. I don't know if it was because she couldn't get a hold of them or what, or if they had plans or something, but allegedly she showed up and found them like that. I think that's what happened. I think that they were at that party. He was probably already high as F. Then they got into that fight. He went and did more drugs. He's mad about what's going on. He might know that his parents are like, you know, exhausted with him, and then maybe he went and did more heroin, or maybe not, I don't know. And then went back to their house and maybe was going to try to fight with them or argue with them, and then he ends up killing them. That's what probably happens, Melly. Yeah, I don't know. That's just what I think he would have done, but what do I know? You know? Okay, let's play this.
He went on to become a legendary director for movies like When Harry Met Sally and the Oscar-nominated A Few Good Men. But now, police are searching through his home looking for answers as to whether Reiner and his wife were killed. And the trail seems to be pointing at someone very close to them who is now reportedly in custody. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Hey guys, real quick, I want to talk about a major financial development that shaped dark inside of that home. Rob Reiner dead, as well as his wife. TMZ is reporting that the couple had their throats slit. TMZ is also reporting that the couple's adult daughter was the one who found her parents dead. Now, a lot of what we know at this point is through media outlets like TMZ and People, because the LAPD, they have tried to keep things tight-lipped. They had especially tried to say as little as possible overnight, but that created a ton of speculation. Law enforcement, at the time of this recording, they haven't confirmed what those outlets are reporting. Police are only saying that the robbery homicide detectives responded to the scene yesterday.
Chief, why are you not exactly looking for a suspect? Are you confident you know who did this?
We have not identified a suspect at this time.
Well, then shouldn't you be looking for one so these neighbors aren't worried about their own lives and their own safety?
Yeah, so at this time, after we determine, so I need everyone to understand something. In order to comply with the legal process, before we do anything here, we have to get a search warrant because there are issues regarding standing at this residence. So as long as those legal requirements are met, we can continue the investigation. Now, when I tell you that we have not identified a suspect, it doesn't mean that we're not working the case. We will not identify a suspect until that person is identified as a suspect, and we're legally seeking them if there is a crime to be reported, and if that person is a suspect in that crime.
Has anyone been detained?
Hold on.
Alan,
Did that answer your question, sir?
No.
Okay,
Has anyone been detained yet for questioning? Are you questioning people now that could be possible suspects and or a person or persons of interest?
Specifically to your first question, no one has been detained. Specifically to your second question, no one is being interviewed.
What were the injuries? What were the injuries? We're being told that this was a stabbing.
Yeah, so we're not going to comment on the injuries at this time. That information will be coming forward in the coming days as it's publicly releasable. If it is part of the investigation and it is not publicly releasable, we will not be releasing it.
Now you can see the back and forth with the media there between the LAPD and the people who had gathered outside of the home in Brentwood. Now, as much as the police tried to keep that information close to the vest, so many reports have been leaked out to the media. And it's not just the identities of the victims, high-profile victims like Rob Reiner, but also the person who may be responsible. That has since made it to media outlets. Now, People magazine says members of the Reiner family spoke with sources who said the couple's adult son may allegedly be responsible for the deaths of his parents. I'm going to dive into his background in just a moment, but I do want to talk about what we know about the final hours of Rob Reiner's life. In fact, it appears to have been a very normal Sunday, at least from what we can see. An actor, Eric Idle, you might know him from Monty Python. He wrote on X after the news of Rob Reiner's death became public, saying, quote, "Rob Reiner was a lovely man. I spoke to him last night for over an hour. I always enjoyed his company. I met him at his dad's in 1975. He was telling me about filming at Stonehenge and his thoughts for the future. This is so awful. I shall miss him. A clever, talented, and very thoughtful man. So awful."
It seems like it's a very
Reiner,
like dark time right now, like right before the holidays, like all these shootings, stabbings, deaths. It's just
has a lot of friends in Hollywood. He was born in the Bronx, but he really made a name for himself in California. First as a star on screen, he was on the show All in the Family. That aired between 1971 and 1979. But of course, he went on to be a legendary director. You think of 1989's hit When Harry Met Sally. That was with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. 1992, he directed A Few Good Men, more of a drama. And
I love When Harry Met Sally.
Starred Tom Cruise, and that actually went on to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. I mean, he was behind classic films. And he continued to act up until his death, continued to work up until his death. He recently made an appearance on the hit show The Bear this year. Reiner's wife was Michele Singer. He met Michele when he was directing When Harry Met Sally. Michele was a photographer by profession. The two of them went on to have 3 children together. The bombshell development that's just come in on Monday, KTLA and other media outlets are reporting that Rob and Michele Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, has been arrested after his parents were found murdered in their home. He's allegedly been booked into jail in Los Angeles and is being held on $4 million bail. The outlet says that is according to police. Officially, the LAPD have not released any information publicly at the time of this recording. Now, we found Nick's Facebook page. It does appear that he hasn't posted since 2018, but this is a picture of Nick and his dad. Now, Nick, it appears, really battled some demons in his life, and we don't know if that played a role in what he's being accused of, but it's certainly something you can't overlook. In 2016, People magazine actually spoke with Nick about his battle with addiction. He told the outlet that he went to rehab when he was 15 years old, that he had been to rehab more than a dozen times. He actually co-wrote a film that was directed by his dad, Rob Reiner. It's called Being Charlie, and the movie is about a character who struggled with heroin addiction and struggled with homelessness. Nick said, quote, "It's not my life, but I went to a lot of these places, so I had a lot of these stories," in that interview with People magazine more than a decade ago. He also said, quote, "I was homeless in Maine. I was homeless in New Jersey. I was homeless in Texas. I spent nights on the street. I spent weeks on the street. It was..."
Imagine your parents having $200 million or more, and that's just, It's crazy.
Not fun, end quote. Now, TMZ is reporting that Rob and Michele were murdered, possibly after an argument at their home. It's unclear right now what may have triggered the alleged violence inside of their house in Brentwood. Law enforcement has not yet released details on the death investigation. Now, as far as more of what we know about Nick, it doesn't appear that he was very active in the film industry after the release of Being Charlie back in 2016. Right now, it has a 6.2 rating on IMDb. At the time of this recording, the LAPD, they haven't released information on any arrests. They haven't said much more beyond that news conference we saw get pretty hostile with the media overnight, just saying that their homicide and robbery detectives are working a death investigation. And as we wait for more information related to the circumstances surrounding Rob Reiner's death, many in Hollywood are remembering a man who touched so many lives. Actress Kathy Bates, she starred in Reiner's 1990 film Misery. She released a statement to NBC News that reads, quote, "I loved Rob. He was brilliant and kind, a man who made films of every genre to challenge himself as an artist. He also fought courageously for his political beliefs. He changed the course of my life. Michele was a gifted photographer. She shot my beautiful photos for the Misery campaign. My heart breaks for them both. My thoughts are with their family." Neil deGrasse Tyson, another celebrity, he posted on X, quote, "In a world where fewer and fewer people concern themselves with the plight of others, the loss of Rob Reiner, who cared deeply about humanitarian causes, feels that much more devastating." Join us now to talk a little bit more about this investigation and where it could go from here is retired NYPD detective David Sarney. Thank you for...
I think people being murdered anyway, I think is terrible, but I think like throats, like Idaho 4 and this, and I think dismemberment, I think those are just like demonic ways to kill someone. You know what I mean? Even Brian Walshe.
For being with us, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's a normal person. I mean, just an incredibly sad situation.
Like, chopping up a human is not easy. It's not easy. The skin alone is one of our biggest organs, so it's. I'm shook, and also with Austin's girlfriend, Taylor 𝗕𝗏𝗄.
From the law enforcement perspective, there's this call for medical aid yesterday. You go to this home in Los Angeles and you make this terrible discovery of, and sadly it's their adult daughter, apparently, who made the find of her parents who had been stabbed to death. What's the first step? What do you do to try to figure out who might be responsible?
Well, what you do primarily, and thanks for having me, is you're going to secure the scene. As you know, we're going to check to make sure you have the daughter's there, tells you what happened, but you secure the scene. So that place is on a lockdown. You're going to interview the daughter, obviously, to find out, get her information about that. You're then going to get, once you have EMS probably is responding, give you a time of death, which you have. And that doesn't mean anything particularly right now. It'll mean something later on, but you already have 2 DOAs of the house. You have a daughter that's visiting them. Now you secure that crime scene. So you're going to look obviously for, and one thing you look for is anything particular out of the ordinary. Maybe the murder weapon is there. So you're going to do a basic overall thing, but you're not doing a search yet. And that's the one thing you're doing it for, to secure the scene, making sure that there's no one else dead or injured in that house or the perpetrators in the place. So what you're doing, once you secure the scene, then because if they don't have anyone who's alive who resides in that house, she's a guest, you're going to need a search warrant. So that's why it's going to take a little while, because once you get that area done, you're not going to do a real full search. You're going to do pretty much, if you see anything in plain view, and just secure it, leaving it there, get the search warrant, let crime scene do their work, obtaining all the forensic evidence available. And as that's going on in that house, you're still looking to see, are there any cameras within the house? Is there a ring camera? Are there surveillance cameras on the property or anywhere around that? And as you're interviewing the daughter, you're trying to find out anything of when she last spoke to them, when did she last see them, and get some information from her. And it seems like she already led them to her brother.
Yeah, what do you make of that? Because
so there was definitely a lot of family drama going on with the sister, because it is alleged that the sister was the one who said, "You need to look at my brother or look into him."
I mean, we've gone through his history, and this is a guy who struggled with addiction. He struggled with homelessness, did a movie about it back in 2015. Don't know if he was living with his parents, but when you have an adult sibling who has just found her parents, the way that it is being reported that this woman found her parents, and she immediately says, "This is the person who did it." How do you handle that as law enforcement?
You're still going to investigate. you don't want anything biased in the investigation. You're just going to get, that's a lead in the investigation. She's saying, look at my brother in a sense. So you're going to look toward him as a possible. And everything, you want to make sure all the avenues are still available, because you don't, just because someone says they think they did it, we have to show that they did it. And that's why probable cause is very important, to obtain information and evidence to secure that the suspect that you're looking at is the one who committed the crime, thereby your probable cause. So he is part of the investigation. She gave you a lead to it. You're going to do your background check on this individual based on what she's telling you, and any criminality that he's done, any victim, perpology in a sense, any background criminally we're going to look at. And then when you find this person, you find her brother in the sense, you're going to take him back and conduct an interrogation about that, about where his whereabouts were during this time. I mean, she sees this situation. Then you're going to go back and pretty much develop a timeline for her brother as to when she last saw it, when he last saw them, and all of those things.
And we don't know. I mean, again, he did a movie in 2015, 2016 that came out, did it with his dad, and then doesn't seem like there's a lot of, I mean, as far as IMDb is concerned, he wasn't really active in the film industry, it seems like, for the last decade. This is got to go to a morbid place to kind of ask these questions. But I mean, clearly this was a horrific way for two people to lose their lives. When you're gathering evidence, compared to, some other cases we've seen, suffocation, strangulations. In this case, it would be very apparent. There's a lot of evidence all over the place, sadly, with the way that it's believed that the Reiners were killed. How does that factor into building your case, knowing that you have a crime scene where there is going to be a lot of blood?
Well, that's the thing. You have the ferocity of the attack. We don't know how many stab wounds that they sustained. We know apparently their necks were slit based on reports that are coming in. But now, if you're looking at a person of interest, and the sister is saying the brother was involved, you're going to look for, and dealing with the severity of the injuries to the decedents, to Rob and his wife, you might look for injuries to his hands or self-defense wounds, because you're dealing with two individuals who have been stabbed. Somewhere along the line, there must have been some sort of defense behind them, trying to stop them. We don't know where the placement of the bodies were. We don't really know nothing. We really don't have enough right now. We're just speculating on this, but two individuals that are murdered, somewhere along the line, someone is going to attack the perpetrator doing this. So you're going to look for injuries, possibly to his hands, because, with stabbings, and if there's, the ferocity of the stabbings, there could be an injury to the perpetrator's hands. So that's,
I'm just like, I can't believe that he slit their throats. Like, yeah, Evie, I'm with you. I can't imagine to go through this. It's just mind-blowing. I know. Just like that guy yeah. Oh my gosh.
something you'd be looking for.
Wow.
You look for any injuries to his face. You're going to also, when you're dealing with the DOAs, one of the things you'll look at is not just severity of injuries. You're going to look for any forensic evidence that a lot of times we look at are fingernails inside the fingernails, because is there a chance that they scratched at him and his finger, and there's his skin cells on their fingertip, on their fingernails, or underneath their fingernails. There's a lot of things. You have the DOAs right there. You have that part of the crime scene, and extends outward throughout the house. You're also looking for the weapon. If there's apparently is knife involved, did that person bring a knife, or was a knife removed from the kitchen? That's where you have, when you spoke to the daughter, how is this kitchen look? I don't understand how you can, as a daughter, have to be able to explain all of this right away. So it's a lot of things. You have to really be emotionally involved, in a sense, not emotionally involved, but more empathetic. And you have to really understand that this is a person who's going severe trauma. Her two parents have been murdered. And now you're trying to gather information to find the perpetrator. So I don't know the emotional state that she was in when this took place, but you're going to ask questions like about the kitchen. Is anything missing in the kitchen? Is a knife missing? Maybe that was the one that was utilized in killing, Rob and his wife.
And even on that note, we don't know. I mean, police have barely said anything, but this is one of those stories. I mean, especially out in LA, when it involves a celebrity, people are going to find out. And they certainly did. And we can talk about how police are kind of handling the information part of it, at least through the overnight hours. We'll see how they handle it today. But when you're gathering evidence, because I think if I was a prosecutor and you're trying to figure out, was this a premeditated attack?
I wonder if they were at that Christmas party. They got into a fight. They got into it. The parents left. He went and did whatever. Maybe it was possibly late. Rob and his wife maybe got home later. Then in the early hours of the morning, maybe this is just all alleged hypothetically, I'm making the scene up in my mind. Maybe then Nick went in and was trying to argue with them and fighting with them. And like I said earlier, maybe that's when it happened. And then the daughter found him later. But maybe, and I'm sure phone dumps, forensic dumps for the phones will probably show this, but I'm wondering if the parents talked to the daughter and were like, this happened at the party, there was a fight or something. And that's why when she walked in on their bodies, that's why she told police, like, I think it was my brother. So I don't know if those are the words verbatim, but I wonder if the text messages or the calls will show something like that. I'm sure it will, but I wonder if they communicated that to her about the fight.
Somebody come to the house with the plan that he was going to kill their parents, and we don't know, what it's going to be, but we'll just give a blanket allegedly at this point. But if the knife was something he brought with him, as opposed to it being a knife that was found in the kitchen, how does that factor into, just when you're gathering evidence to present to a prosecutor of this is the timeline that I think played out, how does something like that factor into what you're gathering?
I don't think he went there with the knife, in my opinion. I think he went there to like argue and fight on drugs. And then I think something happened in the house, and that's when he probably did use a knife from the kitchen, which is brutal.
On the scene.
Well, you're looking at possibly intent. When it comes to law enforcement, as far as detectives, investigators, the intent is already there written in the law. So that will be a prosecutorial aspect to it, because we find out about the knife, and I guarantee you during an interrogation, they probably asked about a weapon, and that may have come out in that interrogation. Again, we're talking about speculation because right now he's been arrested, so they have enough evidence to show that he did it, whether he made admissions, omissions, or there's something forensically involved that ties him in immediately. That's why they made the arrest. So right now, you're dealing with what you have to make that arrest. The next step will be, looking to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. And that will be the other part of the investigation. That's why this crime scene is not going to be shut down right away. I've seen crime scenes in houses take 2 or 3 days to actually end, because if this person had access, and we're looking at it this way, if the daughter had access to the house, if she had access, then was there damage to the door, or damage or entrance or egresses from other locations in the house?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to his background, and it's being widely reported, I mean, again, he made a movie about it. He struggled with heroin addiction, struggled with homelessness. A lot of people can relate to the struggle of that being in a family, no doubt about it. At the same time, when we're talking about motive for murder, and we don't know, reportedly there was some sort of argument between the parents and this suspect, yesterday when they lost their lives. But just in your experience, how can addiction play into something as horrific as what he may have done?
Yeah, addiction, I was in narcotics for about 8 years, and you could see how people fall into that dark pathway. And what you knew who they were before the addiction started place, for the drug addiction or substance abuse, whatever it's going to be, alcohol, they are different. They're not the same people. And as many rehabs as they go through, and apparently according to, again, news sources, he did his own rehab. He went several times. He didn't believe in it. He thought he could do it on his own. But the reality is, that darkness in people comes out when you deal with this. And I've seen it firsthand with family members who I've dealt with in cases. They're not the same person. So, this is their son, but it's not the son that they remembered prior to the addiction. And he was homeless for several times on his life. He'd been to rehab dozens of times, apparently. It's something that may weigh into his defense, but the reality is that's not what's important. What's important for us are the facts of the case. We'll determine that through the continuing investigation as to his culpable mental state at the time. Intentional, reckless. This is not an accident.
And that's even shittier. Can you imagine if maybe, they had a strained relationship, he was on heroin or whatever the hell. But imagine he didn't intend to do that, and it was just really actually the drugs. And I wonder if that will play a role, and what kind of role that would play in the court case if it's him allegedly. But This is really dark.
No, people aren't. Two people aren't have this throat slit and stabbed accidentally. There had to be some intent to that. That's what we look at right now. But when it goes down as far as the trial process, the defense may utilize that as a reason as to why he did, or what he did is why he did what he did. Sounds kind of crazy, but that's how it is.
No, for sure. And, you know, turning kind of to the fact that we are talking about a guy who is, I mean, this is Hollywood royalty, right? Rob Reiner, everybody knows him. I mean, if you didn't know who he was, you knew his movies. And in LA, like, you're going to come in touch, I'm sure, in working in law enforcement with celebrities, because that's just where the film industry is based. And as much as the investigation may be exactly the same, whether it's Rob Reiner or whether it's Joe Smith on the street, at the same time, there's got to be a moment for investigators where it's like, oh my God, this is going to be a national news story. How do you handle that situation? Because as much as you want to dial in, at the same time, you kind of realize that, yes, it would be maybe a big LA story if two people were murdered like this, but now everybody's talking about it.
You're going to do the case as you're supposed to. That's why all these non-public media cases, non-social media cases, you do the same thing you always do. The thing is, you just have to be aware that there will be leakage. And that's the one thing about this, especially this type of case. There's leakage out there that investigators don't want to have people have, but somewhere along the line, someone leaks out this information. You try to keep everything tight within the unit themselves. You try to avoid any of that. But here's the problem about it is, since everyone wants to be communicating, every part of the department wants to know something, somewhere in that chain, somebody then pushes it out toward the media outlets. And then it kind of really sullies up what the investigation is, because now we have to try to answer questions that we may have the answers to, but we don't put it out in the public forum yet. So the best thing you do, and we always say this, is we continue. The investigation is ongoing. This is what we have. Whoever we have is arrested, and go speculation. We have a person arrested. He's in custody, and the investigation is ongoing. And you leave it at that. Even though the questions come into play, you need people who are very experienced in disseminating public information to deal with this and sort of kind of nip it at the bud. You can't get confrontational with the media about it. You just have to be the ones just shut it down, saying this is what we have. This is all we're going to be able to tell you. We'll give you an update in 2 hours, and that 2 hours, maybe you give them B, another B, then the next 2 hours, you give them letter C, and then letter D, and that's all you want to give. You want to give everything that you have the facts to. You don't want them to, and if they leak it out, it's going to be leaked out. But we determine the truth. What happens in the media doesn't always be the truth. It's just speculation. Police deal with the facts of an investigation. That's what we're looking for here.
Because you watch the overnight news conference where, you know, and you give the LAPD credit that they're trying to give the media something. You know, they know that this case, it's Rob Reiner's address. We know that. The people who are reportedly dead inside the home that fits the ages of Rob Reiner. But then it creates this situation where you have a police officer saying, like, we just know it's a death investigation and our homicide detectives are working it. And yet you flip on TMZ or People Magazine and all the details of what actually happened, it seems, are out there. And then it's suddenly like there's this disconnect between the media and, hey, we know what was going on, and police that aren't going to say it. How are you supposed to actually handle that situation? Is it kind of the case where maybe a press release would have been a better idea than a news conference?
Yeah, I always say this: press conferences, and especially you're rushed into it. You could just say we're doing investigation, and it is 25 seconds, and that's it. And that's why you really need your like in the NYPD, we have DCPI, Deputy Commissioner of Public Information. We have a unit of a unit of detectives and administrative staff and professional staff, right? Professional reporters, in a sense, who really know how to just nip it at the bud. This is what we have. This is all we can give you. Thank you very much, and step away, regardless of what you're going to deal with. And that's all in the ether. That's what they have. But that's not be able to. We can't prosecute what TMZ says. We prosecute what the facts of the case are.
True.
The problem is, and it happens unfortunately in a lot of these investigations, is somebody is leaking information to the media, and you have to find out who it is and close that part of close him, her, or whatever group is doing that out of the investigation. That's the problem, because everyone wants to know something within the department. But the reality is, you don't need to know until we know and we can confirm A, B, or C. That's why an investigation into a robbery, homicide detectives, they don't want to tell anybody. But there's always somewhere in that chain who wants to know what's going on. And then somewhere along the line, 15 minutes later, leaks out to a news outlet that this is what happened. I'm like, that's not what it should be.
And then just lastly, thinking of, if they take the son into custody, and we don't know what he said when he was in custody, the story that came out about him being questioned came in overnight. But then we just heard this morning that he's been taken into custody. If he's not saying anything, but you feel through the sister saying that she believes it was him, you have evidence on the scene. We don't know what his condition was. Was he someone who ran and they had to arrest him somewhere? We don't know any of that. What's the bar at that point where you say, this isn't just detaining someone anymore, this is where we need to charge him with something specifically instead of letting him leave and who knows?
Yeah, ATS, exactly. Imagine giving birth to something that ends up being your end. It's insane.
That's where he would go.
This is, again, this would probably confer with the district attorney's office, because you're not going to make an arrest unless you have the DA saying, yes, go ahead with it. So you're going to be, going back to New York, we have a homicide DA. When there's a homicide investigation, as a district attorney, a prosecutor is already who's assigned to that homicide. So we work hand in hand with those DAs to make sure this is what the facts are. What do you want us to do? Can we prosecute? Can we make the arrest? Because what we do in police work is we make the arrest based on probable cause. The district attorney's office, the prosecutor, is looking to make sure this case can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the person that you arrested,
and most of us probably don't know what a drug heroin psychosis is also. So
is the one that committed that crime.
I guess there's that.
So they've worked in hand with this, and I guarantee you the district attorney has given them the green light in a sense to say, yes, we have enough to make the arrest. Let's make the arrest and then follow up with still the continuing investigation, because just because a person's arrested doesn't mean the case is over.
And we'll see where.
I want to play, I have an interview and then we'll move on to Brian Walshe. I'm not going to replay the whole thing of Brian Walshe, the whole court date, but I do want to play the verdict. And I want to play that interview, the post-conference thing, which is like 10 minutes, but let me pull up. I know we already heard about the fight, but this is a 6-minute clip.
We want to start with a story that really is shaking.
Sorry. I just paused it and then
I would say Hollywood, but really shaking the country because it's the death of popular actor and producer Rob Reiner and his wife. His son, their son, I should say, now in custody.
Right. And so this has kind of been developing, new information coming in throughout the day. We want to bring in TMZ's Michael Babcock with the latest on this investigation. You guys are now reporting that it was their daughter that found her parents.
Morning, Shannon. Hi, Lauren. Yeah, just an incredibly sad and tragic story.
Wow.
We have, over the last few hours here, learned a good deal of new information about what allegedly happened, really starting Saturday night and then obviously into yesterday afternoon when, like you said, Shannon, at about 3:30, one of their other children, now their son Nick, who is 32 years old, he is currently in custody. Unclear exactly why he's being held, but it is in connection to the deaths of his mom and dad. But yesterday, he has a sibling, a sister, and we have been told that about 3:30, she found her parents, called 911. Tragically, at that point, it was too late. There was nothing that could be done to save Rob or Michele, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an awful story. We're looking more into Nick, the 32-year-old that was is being held right now.
Yeah.
I saw that he has had, years since like his 15th birthday, I think it said was the first time that he was taken to a rehab facility, and that it had been like dozens of visitors or dozens of visits rather to other rehabilitation facilities over the years as well. So but at the same point, like him and his dad, they made a movie together. So like I look at this and I'm like, clearly they had a connection. But this is just, to see this turn of events is just sad.
No, I agree, Lauren. And to your point, they did make a movie together. I was watching interviews that they did, obviously after the tragic incident yesterday, and looking into his son, into Nick, and they had the project that they made that I think by accounts was was pretty good and well received. They did a lot of interviews together. It seemed like they had a loving relationship. So to consider what might have happened, obviously we're not yet completely sure here, but to consider what might have happened, it's just awful. We were told, and it's relevant to their relationship and where they might have been right now, they went Saturday night to Conan O'Brien's holiday party. It's something he throws every year. And
yeah, Laura, you make a great point. You said, I mean, he was at the party with them, so they must have been on good terms. Exactly. A very high celebrity, expensive, fancy schmancy party, too. He must have been relatively sober. I know. That's why I'm thinking like maybe he did something at the party and then they got into an argument. Maybe they were fighting about that. Maybe his dad was like, why are you getting high at the party? And then it could have started there. I mean, we don't know what the relationships
a lot of
were,
celebrity friends who go over and they have this big party where they all have a nice time. Well, Rob Reiner went this year with his wife, Michele, but they also brought Nick with them. We have been told that there was a blowout fight at Conan O'Brien's party on Saturday night where it got so bad or so intense that Rob and Michele left. Unclear if Nick left, but Rob and Michele left the party because they got into this fight with Nick. And then obviously less than 24 hours later, we know, tragically what happened to them. And now as there is some evidence to at least indicate that he may have had something to do with it. I think it kind of puts that argument into focus, and they were not in a good place. We've been told that they were at wit's end, for lack of a better term, with what to do with Nick and how to help him. And they loved their son very much, but they just didn't know where to turn. And it just paints a picture of a parents and a son who were really in crisis with one another.
Yeah, that movie was called Being Charlie, and I bring it back up because it is Nick writing about himself based on his experience with addiction, with homelessness as well. He even told People magazine that he was homeless in Maine, homeless in New Jersey. He was homeless in Texas. He said he spent nights on the street, weeks on the street. And it does seem like that they would keep going to him and trying to get him help, trying to get him on the right page. And I just think of so many parents who probably have been in this same boat where they're trying so hard to help their kid, but at the same point, you feel like you're just playing the same old story.
And they had all the resources in the world, but
I honestly have a cousin who has been on drugs his whole life, and he's like way, way older too. And he always goes through like these really bad episodes. And I consistently tell my mom, like, one of these days we're going to get a call like this. Like, I hate to be so blunt to her, but she's my mom, so I have to tell her what I think. And I would be there for her, of course. So I have to have some level of protection. But he has like these episodes that are like raging and scary. And it's a whole thing because it involves like politics and healthcare and mental health. But I fear that one day he would do something like this because of the rugs and his state of mind.
I think it's an important message. It goes to show that money that's not all that matters. And he seemingly, had demons and battled real issues. And, Rob Reiner obviously had all the contacts, all the money, and still Nick was really struggling. And his bouts of homelessness, I think, paints that picture. It did seem like they were at times at least, they were in a good place. And it seemed like even hearing Nick talk about his dad and Rob and how Rob helped him with his addiction issues, it seemed like Nick had a lot of love for his father. But we know how these things can sometimes go. And, it's a roller coaster, and other times are more difficult than others. And it seemed like they were going through a real rough patch.
I know that sounds sick. Like, why would you say that to your mom, Ellie? But it's like, I think putting the idea in her head so that if it ever did happen, I guess I'm trying to save her like the sudden shock, even though it would still be because it's her sister. So,
And I'm sure we'll learn more as the hours and the days and weeks go by, but it's just an incredibly sad story. You can tell how beloved he was by the reaction of other folks in Hollywood and just people who enjoyed watching his projects over the years. It's just so sad.
Yeah, we're already hearing about, different actors, comedians, people who worked with him, even showing up to the scene. I read that
Billy
Billy
Crystal went
Crystal was
last
just
We have
night.
there.
video.
Yeah.
of
Larry
him.
David.
Yeah, we have video where you can see actually Billy Crystal, like it's scene video, like where, we're there
Right.
just getting video of police
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
home, blocking things off. There he is. There's Billy Crystal right there,
Right.
walking with his wife.
Right.
I'm
I think they had to
assuming
see
all-
it for themselves.
Yeah,
They
and
were
did
just
they
in shock.
I think, do they live in that area? I mean, this is Brentwood. It's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's celebrity after celebrity. in a lot
Yeah.
of these
Very nice area.
It's so strange because this is obviously such a high profile case now. And this is about a mile away from where Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were murdered, in the 90s. So you've had these two violent, tragic incidences so close to one another in what otherwise is, one of the most beautiful and wealthy neighborhoods that you could ever, want to live in. It's such a beautiful place, and it's just been marred by this violence, unfortunately.
Yes, kissy. Patty says no kissy though. Okay, I want to play, this is a 2-minute clip, and it's of Rob actually talking about death. So I thought the irony in not behind this clip. It's a 2-minute clip.
What is your favorite Spinal Tap song? You've worked with the gentleman.
Well, I love their music, and I love Hellhole. I love Stonehenge, obviously, Big Bottom. There's a song that it's not in this second film, but there's a song called America, and it's a song about coming to America from foreign shores, and it's epic, and it's a great song.
What is something that happens backstage that hasn't made the films that we would be surprised to know that you can share with us?
I'm not allowed to do that because I have a contract that says it's an NDA. It's an NDA. It's no disclosure of artistic endeavors that aren't in the film. I think that's longer than NDA, but they say you can't tell you. I can't, because I'll get sued.
I have a feeling they would do that too.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so New Orleans is the new one where it takes place. Why New Orleans?
Well, New Orleans, home of the blues, home of jazz, the crossroads of jazz, blues, soul, all that. It seemed like the natural place for them to go.
Did you get to eat any of the food while you were in New Orleans?
I did eat some of the food, and I made a pact with myself to see if I could gain less than 10 pounds while I was there. Food is fabulous, but and I stuck to that, and I did pretty good. But when you're eating po' boys and beignets, I had a lot of beignets down there.
And gumbo.
Oh, gumbo. Well, that's the best.
Okay, final question.
Yeah.
And this is, as a fan, I will ask you this, and I know I speak on behalf of millions. We've got to have more from Spinal Tap.
Well, that's up to the guys. There's a song that Derek introduces in the second film called "Rockin' in the Urn," and it's all about what happens after you pass away. And his contention is you keep playing. So who knows what'll happen? Maybe they will. Maybe after they die. You never know.
Interesting. Before we move on to yucky Brian Walshe, let's play an interview with him and his son. And then we'll move on from the Rob. We'll play a little bit of it. We lost a great actor. Yeah, this is sad. It's really sad.
Nice experience for me. I don't really think it was like tough at all.
Really?
I mean, of course it was a little bit, but
I mean, we did get into fights over things, but ultimately it forced us to make the film better. I mean, we get into issues, and I would see, the whole process for me, I can just speak for myself. It did make me understand him a lot more. And I think it made me a better father. Hopefully it did. I don't know, but I think that, and you'll see it in the film. What happens is, you know, if your kid is going through rough times, you know, the parent your main job is to keep your child safe. So I would do anything. I felt at a loss. So I would do anything that, as we say in the film, anybody with a desk and a diploma, I would listen to them. And the whole idea of tough love and you have to be a certain way. And it's not my nature. It's not the way I am built, but I went and did that, you know, and I think that, you know, at the end of the day, I know my child better than an expert does. And I probably should have trusted my own instinct. And that's one of the things I did learn about the whole experience.
I think the bonding came not from the story itself, but from the fact that we were working on a movie together, and I could see him in I would think, in the form that he could express himself the best, which is making movies, because he has so much experience. And so seeing that sort of turned me around.
What a trip to watch this, huh?
To be like, okay, I should probably...
No, sorry, I'm responding.
Oh, I should probably shut up and listen to him, because he knows a lot more about this. He knows I don't know anything, so I'll learn whatever he has to teach me.
I just think that's such a fascinating thing to say, that like your father, who you would always want to be at his best as your father, may be a type of person who's at his best when he's making movies, and that makes him more understandable or relatable as a father to you, which is so fascinating to me.
Yeah, that it really clicked for me, because we didn't bond a lot as a kid. Like, he really liked baseball, I like basketball, and he could watch that with my brother, but baseball. But I just, when I saw him do that, and it was something that I'm interested in, I was like, wow, like he really knows a lot. And like, it made me feel closer to him and be like, yeah.
You're like, wow, my dad's Rob Reiner.
I never had thought about it. And then.
Yeah. It didn't cross your mind, right?
Never.
Never watched A Few Good Men. Didn't see that one.
No. But it's interesting that Nick would talk about it in that way, because, yeah, we did share that experience. But, you know, even though I've had a lot of experience making movies, you know, and I said this to him many, many times, that he was the heart and soul of the film. So when it came to making the film deeper and better, I would have to really defer to him. I mean, even though I have had all this experience in making films, the core of this film, I really had to look to him. I relied on him for giving it the honesty and the truth that it has.
Did you work with him on set? Were you on set for the majority of the shooting?
Mm-hmm. I was on set with him. Yeah.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I have no idea what I was going to say.
No, he was there every day. I mean, we would, you know, we worked for a year before, you know, helping craft the script, and then doing the whole shooting, and then post-production, he would come in the cutting room. I mean, we went through it together. There's no question.
I have to ask, you know, you said it's the most personal project that you've ever been a part of. And I think when people watch an hour-and-a-half movie, they can sort of feel the personal aspect from the filmmakers, or that it's
watch a little bit of more of this. I haven't seen that movie, and I'm curious to watch
personal
it.
project. But as a filmmaker, as you said, it takes a year, it takes 2 years. There are certain objective things that you have to do as a filmmaker that completely remove the personal. And most of filmmaking can be that part of the job. How do you remain personally attached to the project? How do you maintain that sort of little personal spot in your brain when there are so many decisions and so many things you have to do on a day-to-day basis in a project like this that are not personal?
Well, I mean, you do have the craft of being a filmmaker. So you do, there are certain grammatic, you know, there's certain film grammar that you're going to use to tell a story. But I could never get away from the fact that it's personal, because we're doing it together. You know, every time I look over, that's my son, there's my boy. And so that never goes away, no matter, you know, whatever craft I have, you know, it's always there.
I think the movie's called Being Charlie.
Nick, how involved were you with the casting and everything? I mean, this kid is amazing in the film. He's an incredible lead. I've never seen him.
People know Nick Robertson.
He was given good.
Yeah, he's a really good actor. I mean, he was in that Kings of Summer, and he's in Jurassic World. He's a great actor, and Nick was there for all the casting. You know, all of the auditions.
I was sitting there, but
yeah, but you always gave your opinion.
I was like, I saw that girl Morgan Saylor on Homeland, and I think during the season she like went to rehab or something, and I was just like, oh, she's a perfect rehab girl.
Yeah,
that was the only.
He pushed for Morgan Saylor like crazy.
You had a personal connection to her right away?
No, but
just felt like you knew her.
felt like I knew her.
He's a little, I don't know, I get a weird vibe. We're just gonna watch another minute or two of this and then we'll move on to Stinky Brian Walshe.
From some land.
Yeah. And this kid is, I mean, he carries the movie in many ways. He's in every scene of the film and he's fantastic. How do you know when you're casting someone that they're going to be able to do that after this long? You know, you've worked with some of the biggest actors of all time, but you're casting a relatively
I'm glad I'm not the only one like feeling uncomfortable with this interview.
unknown kid to carry the weight of a movie like this. How did you know that he was up to the task?
Well, you start with having an idea of who the character is. And in this case, even though it's not Nick, it's certainly an extension of him in certain ways. I have that in the back of my head. I'm looking at an actor and I want to see if he has the qualities, some of the qualities that I see in Nick.
They definitely had a strained relationship. You can do that. Yeah, a few red flags the last 5 minutes. I know. We're such observers here, us in true crime.
In terms of his honesty and his depth and the way he plays things. And then to be honest with you, he auditions. And in the case of Nick Robinson, he auditioned with the guy that plays his friend in the movie, Devin Bostic, who plays Adam. And they clicked immediately. It was like as if they had known each other for forever. And I said, ooh, that's what it needs to be. And it needs to feel like that.
And another thing, other than casting, we all stayed at a hotel, the Hyatt House, at this, and we all hung out after every day. And that kid, when he first showed up, he had like a book about junkies. He had like watched some YouTube, and he started asking me questions about it. And I would try to fill him in as best as possible. But since the writing was done by us and Matt, he kind of got our sensibilities. So did Devin, from just hanging out with us. Try to help him with that in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that interview is, you can just find it online and watch it the remainder of the time. Okay, I didn't get it, just looked up. The son wrote it, the father directed it. Yeah, it was like about his true experience, I think, with addiction. I think it was in like 2019 if it came out. Only 24% rotten, about a son and politician who meets a girl in rehab. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, I hadn't even heard of it until today. Let's get into Brian Walshe. He was found guilty, and like my title says, well, no shit. Let's watch the verdict, 7 minutes, and then I want to watch him walking outside being escorted, and then I want to watch the presser, which is like 10 minutes.
Okay, the jury in the Brian Walshe case has a verdict. Without any further ado, let's head to Dedham, Massachusetts, and watch together.
Mr. Foreperson, in the matter of the Commonwealth versus Brian Walshe, Norfolk Superior Court Criminal Indictment Number 2023-0091. As to count 1, wherein the defendant Brian Walshe is charged with murder in the first degree, what say the jury? Is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty of what, sir?
Murder in the first degree.
Murder in the first degree, so say you, Mr. Foreperson.
I do.
Guilty of murder in the first degree, so say all deliberating jurors.
I do.
Thank you. If you could hand that back to the court officer, please.
This time we move to poll the jurors.
The jury may be polled. Thank you. Juror number 1, juror in seat number 1. As to the verdict of murder
I haven't seen this, but this is a reaction I expected from a psychopath.
in the first degree, is that your verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror number 2, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 3, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 4, as to the charge of murder in the first degree, is that your verdict?
Yes.
He's like, yep. I dismembered her and I hid her body, and you'll never find it, but I didn't kill her. Right.
Foreperson, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 8, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 9, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 10, is that your verdict? Yes. Juror in seat number 13?
Yes.
Is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 14, is that your verdict?
Yes.
And last juror, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror, all jurors answer affirmatively that the guilty of first degree is their verdict.
The verdict may be recorded. Please
Thank
be
you.
seated.
Seated.
So jurors,
Shout out to, I forget her name, but the judge. I like her.
I want to thank you for your service on this case. I know that it went a little bit more quickly than we were expecting, but your service has been substantial. We're in the third week of this trial, and I appreciate all you did to be obedient to those rules that I placed on you and for your conscientious service as jurors in this case. I will be back to meet with you privately in a moment. You should feel a weight lifting off of you right now as I'm releasing of you of those requirements. You can talk to anyone about this case or no one at all. You can do whatever research you wish to do about the case or not at all. You can go back on social media if you want, news media. And I'm supposed to release you from that burden of being open-minded. And I hope you always go through your lives with open hearts and open minds, and new experiences and new people. I'll be back in just a minute to meet with all of you privately. Thank you very much, jurors.
Jurors exiting, all rise. Jurors, follow me, please.
When are we going to be in a position to have the victim impact statements and conduct the sentencing in this case?
Your Honor, I believe that we could do it as early as Wednesday of this week, but I believe if it's available to the court, we can also do Thursday or Friday.
We're going to get victim impact statements this week.
I know that Friday's definitely not a good day for the court because I have other things scheduled. I anticipated the trial was going to be running, so I scheduled other things, although we could do it Friday morning. Does the defense have any preferences to the timing of the sentencing?
Your Honor, given the Commonwealth's recommendations, we'd actually request Wednesday at any point, if that's possible.
All right, I think it will be.
Okay, there it is. Brian Walshe goes down, guilty of first-degree murder for killing his wife. I don't know. Took a little bit of time, 5 hours, but according to 𝗕𝗥𝗔𝗓𝗏, every day of testimony equals 1 hour of deliberation, so he wins again. It's actually under it, because I think there were 8 days in this case. Matthew Mangino still with us, Lisa Bonner with us in studio as Brian Walshe stands up. His next stop after sentencing on Wednesday will be the Department of Corrections in the state of Massachusetts. Lisa,
I wanted to see, do they show the mom? Oh, let's skip them talking and go to the Brian part. ATS says, will her lover speak? I feel like yes, but then I don't know because he's probably in a relationship or, married or something. I don't know. I just don't know if he would. I'm assuming he might, but maybe just her family and friends and maybe her boss. I don't know.
Is outrageous that they're insulting our intelligence. Guy finds his wife dead and decides to cut her up and dispose of her body. But we expect more from jurors. We expect jurors to be serious about what they do, to sit down, look at the laws as they've been instructed, look at the facts, and maybe go beyond what might be necessarily the knee-jerk reaction. Let's make sure everything's right here. And then that's our responsibility to the public and to the state of Massachusetts. And so I think they did what they are asked to do. They were methodical. They went into this open-minded, and they went through the evidence. They went through the law, and they came.
I wanted to see his mom's reaction. He's not married. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know. Poor Anna, what do you think happened? I think he saw her phone. I agree. I agree with that. I think he saw her phone. And I definitely think it was premeditated. And he had thought about it before. I don't know. That's just my opinion only. There's a 1-minute clip of him being escorted outside, and then we'll watch Michael Morrissey's press conference. Ugh, yuck. I can't stand that guy, dude. Morrissey, I can't stand him.
Sir, you have to. Mr. Walsh, would you like to make any comment? Whoa, please. No. You plan to appeal.
Ooh. Good. Bye-bye, Brian Walshe. Off you go to the honey buns and GTL phone. Let's watch this press conference. It's like 9 minutes. And then we're going to move on to True Crime Live. We have Stefan Stearns today and Brian Koberger and Mackenzie today, if we get to it. And please make sure you're subscribed to the second channel. We will be over there today as well.
In the state of Massachusetts has determined he was found guilty of first-degree murder. Let's head back out to Dedham. A press conference from the district attorney's office is on.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'm Michael Morrissey, the Norfolk District Attorney, and with me today, standing behind me, some of the most important people in the event you witnessed over the last few weeks and couple of years. I have members of the Cohasset State Police as well as my trial team are with me today. Did an outstanding job. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the jury. This is a very difficult case from the beginning.
Oh, I already can't listen to him. Oh, we're only 31 seconds in.
Take time out of their schedule to hear such days of evidence, complex evidence, and a difficult case, and to come up with the decision they did. Without the jurors, our system doesn't work. And my heart.
He's the corrupt. Is this Norfolk County DA? He's from the Karen Reed case.
Felt thanks to each and every one of those who participated and the alternates who were chosen as well. I'd like to thank the Cohasset Police, the state police, the medical.
How many times did he come up like this and talk in Karen Reed? I'm curious.
Examiner's office and the crime lab for their hard work. It was an incredible effort. If you think about what you saw during
Laura just answered. Sorry, Laura. He makes an appearance, never ever showed his face after the Karen Reed verdict.
In the trial, there was all sorts of forensic evidence. They left no stone unturned. They viewed.
He wants a double order of meatballs.
60 witnesses, almost 60 witnesses testified at trial, and they interviewed even more people. So while you saw a good part of what we had, it was only a small fraction of the time and effort that they put in to get that evidence. And they went to dumpsters, to landfills, to dumps as well, to transfer stations, department stores, lumber stores, CVS, just to gather all this evidence, which was critical in this case. And that effort should not be forgotten and how hard it was. For without those tools and the evidence that they provided us, that the trial team, which I had the utmost confidence, very confident, professional people, long-term prosecutors in the office, had great tools to work with, but they also great people in their own right. And they put on a very, very great case in a difficult setting. Now, we've seen other cases where we've not had a body, but this is the first one I can remember we've had a first-degree conviction, and I just want to thank them profusely. I know that a number of them passed up vacations, work holidays, and they know what's expected of them. We took the job to speak for victims, and they did one heck of a job speaking for Ana's family. And I just wanted to also to say we did hear from Ana's sister, and her comment was, justice has been served, and we agree wholeheartedly with her comments as well. But they never lost sight of that, and I'd like to just personally thank Greg Conner, 𝗕𝗥𝗔𝗗𝗏 𝗕𝗔𝗗 and we have the Cohasset Police, Harrison, and the State Police, and the head of our Victim Services, Kristen Collins. Also Laura McLaughlin, who's not here. She did a lot of the early work on the case, and so we had a great team, and I just wanted to profusely thank them. It's been a great day for us in the office. I'd ask Greg if he wants to say a word or two. Greg Conner.
Thank you, Michael. Work two of the finest lawyers I've ever got to know, and also to go against very who are extremely good lawyers. But I want to say thank you to our law enforcement, but who worked day after day from the beginning with Sergeant Harrison Schmidt. When Cohasset lost one of their own, they stopped everything and tried to find this woman, and one person never gave up on that case, and it would be Sergeant Harrison Schmidt. Thank you very much.
I was on it, so I passed it on. We heard that they called, and I passed it on to you.
Will they be making impact statements?
The judge, they're working with the trial team to schedule impact statements. I can't tell you what form they're going to come in, but the opportunity has been extended, and I expect we will hear something, and they're working on that now.
Mr. Walshe, what do you think for sentencing?
Excuse me?
For sentencing?
Well, there's a mandatory sentence of life, so, but there are other issues. They also developed other charges, as many of you have now heard, that there was a plea earlier to other charges, so that's being worked on. So you'll hear from the lawyers at the time of sentencing.
Mr. Walshe, do you consider this a win after the Kennedy trial? What do you think actually brought this to guilty? You have no body, circumstantial evidence. What do you think was the strongest part of the case that convinced the jury this was guilty?
I don't think there's any one thing. I think it was the combined effort of working together with our law enforcement partners, the ME and other professionals. The work that was done on the forensics, I think, was important. But actually, without that and without people explaining it in the courtroom, we'd have nothing. And I think they all did an awesome job. And I'm just going to say one other thing, because someone mentioned, it's not about winning or losing. It's about getting the right answer. And this was the right answer. And so we don't look at cases as a wins or losses. We look at getting justice for someone. So let's not lose sight of that fact.
Walshe pled guilty to 2 charges ahead of time, right when jury selection was about to start. Did that change the way you approached this case and your attorneys? Obviously, they had been looking at 3 different charges. Now it was 1 murder charge.
We can hear right from the
case was always going to be presented in the same way. The evidence was the evidence, and we wanted to make sure the jury had everything that they needed to make a determination. The change of plea was an interesting dynamic, but when it came down to it, we wanted to make sure the jury had all the facts.
Greg, what do you think it was? The online searches? Do you think it was the surveillance video? What do you think? Or the emotional testimony?
I can't tell you. That would be a question for the jurors. We tried to give them all the information we had. We had it from multiple different factors, whether it be surveillance video, the text messages, the internet searches. But what we had was a very thorough investigation that gave the lawyers in this case an excellent chance to try and give the jury what they needed.
Were you surprised that you didn't testify? What did you want to ask him on the stand?
I don't know if
you don't have enough time for that.
I think that's probably better not said.
But were you surprised that he didn't?
The judge was.
I think it's always up to the defendant to make that decision. I think it's the hardest decision a defendant can make. And so I'm sure he put a lot of thought into it. We were prepared that if he did testify, we had a number of questions we wanted to have answered, but we understand it's his right not to.
So, the question?
Yeah, over the past couple of years, a lot has been made of your office and the handling of different cases. Do you hope what happens
The handling of the Karen Reed case.
here today restores some of that perceived lack of faith the public has?
I don't know. One loss of a highly visibility case determines what happens in our office. We handle cases all the way from the bottom to the top. We treat them all the same. There's no such thing as a single important case. This was
No, you don't.
It's a critical case, and you saw on display some of the smartest people and some of the toughest workers and investigators who have always been with me. So I think that sometimes You don't like what a jury has to say, but that's our system of justice. You present the case to a jury and you have to abide by, at least I do. I took a constitutional oath. So I would just say today, I clearly are much happier with the outcome today, and I'm very happy with the work that was done by the professionals who work both in law enforcement and the district attorney's office. And really, I couldn't be happier. So
A lot has obviously over the last couple of years. We haven't really had a chance to hear from you.
This guy's calling him out. I don't know why it keeps cutting out.
And we do have some calls to make and try to reach out to some other family members and some other people. But thank you all, and hopefully it brings to a conclusion a very sad chapter in the history of Ana's family.
Okay, that's enough of him. Before we end the live, there was just a statement from LAPD regarding Rob case. Let me see if I can read it because it's tiny. I don't want to pull it up on my computer because we're going to end this live and go into the next one. Everyone hates him. Yeah, I know. It says, December 15th, Los Angeles. Detectives from the LAPD Robbery Homicide Division announced the arrest of Nick, which we already knew, following the murder of Robert and Michele. On December 14th, around 3:40 p.m., LAPD officers assigned to West Los Angeles Division responded to a call of death investigation in the 200 block of South Chadbourn Avenue. Once inside the residence, officers discovered two victims who were subsequently identified as Robert and Michele. Robbery Homicide Division Special Agent responded to the residence and initiated an investigation regarding the circumstance of their deaths. As a result of the investigation, it was determined that the Reiners were the victims of homicide. The investigation further revealed that Nick, 32 years old, son of Robert and Michele, was responsible for their deaths. Nick was located and arrested at approximately 9:15 p.m. He was booked for murder and remains in the custody with no bail under booking number, etc., etc. I thought they said, oh, I wonder if they removed the bail today because it was $4 million. So I wonder if now, after starting their investigation, they removed it. It says no bail. On Tuesday, December 16th, the case will be presented to the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office for filing consideration. So that's the end of that. We'll see. This will be an interesting trial if it goes to trial. Anyways, shout out to you guys for being here. This was just a hangout updates kind of live. We have Stephen Stearns live in 30 minutes and then Idaho 4. So definitely make sure you guys hit the like button. It's scheduled for 30 minutes out, so I better see all of you guys there. Thanks for hanging out. Good conversation. RIP Rob and Michele. What a tragedy. And, you know, good riddance on Brian Walshe. He's disgusting and a monster. So RIP Ana as well. Unfortunately, her remains have not been found. And I think at this point, they never will be. Been laying on my ass with you. Got to do some chores. Okay, well, you better come back. Not 6:45 a.m. Stop it. I know I scheduled the Brian Koberger at 6:45 a.m. because I meant to do p.m. But we're going to do Stephen Stearns from 3 to like 4. And then we're going to hop right into Idaho 4. And then we're going to go to the second channel. So go up and sub up. I don't think I'm subbed to the second channel yet. Should I get a wrench over there? Yeah, fem. The link's not working. I need to find out why. But if you go into my About Me section, I think it lets you go to the second channel there. Melly, I can't. You're fine, Laura. You're fine. Yeah, please comment and hype. And I will see you guys in a little bit for Stephen Stearns. Thank you guys for hanging out. And like I said, I will see you shortly on the next one. Bye.